Hi, this is Miss D, and this is the long metabolism review, questions 22 through 30-ish. Number 22, if photosynthesizing green algae are provided with carbon dioxide containing heavy water, which just means I've got radioactive, sorry, not heavy water, radioactive oxygen, then later analysis will show that all of the following molecules produced by the algae contain the radioactive oxygen except which of the following. So 3-phosphoglycerate, no idea what that is. Glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate, no idea what that is. I mean, I do, but I told you guys you didn't have to. Glucose, I know what that is. And Ruby P. So these are all involved in Calvin cycle, right? This is our product of the Calvin cycle. And then oxygen. So you should be able to figure out that the oxygen is the odd man out there and therefore is our answer, but let's talk about why. So if I put in the CO2 and I put in the H2O, and my carbon dioxide is labeled, and then I get out my C6H12O6 and my oxygen. Let's ask the easy question. Where did this oxygen come from? It came from right there, right? That oxygen comes from right there, which means this oxygen right here is right here. So this is my radioactively labeled one. Is my oxygen gas radioactively labeled? Nope. So my answer is 22. Let's go ahead and clear that and scroll down. 23. Which one of the following are products of the light reactions of photosynthesis that are utilized in the Calvin cycle? So light reaction products are ATP, NADPH, and oxygen gas, which is a byproduct. So what am I going to use in the Calvin cycle? I'm not going to use my oxygen gas, so my answer is going to be ATP and NADPH, and that is E. So that's it. 24. Where does the Calvin cycle take place? The Calvin cycle takes place in the chloroplast. That is clear. It does not take place on the thylakoid membrane. However, it takes place in the stroma of the chloroplast. We're not going to talk about that one. You guys just need to know Calvin cycle takes place in the gooey stroma. That's not the thylakoid. That's not the Staxycorters. It's the ooey gooey stuff between the membrane and the Staxycorters. 25. When oxygen is released as a result of photosynthesis, it is a direct byproduct of water, and the water is split in photosystem 2. But it's not the electron transfer in photosystem 2, it's just the splitting of water, because the electron transfer system of photosystem 2 is going to make ATP, and this makes NADPH. So it was kind of tricky. You should know that it's not that, and it's not that, it's not that, but B and E are kind of tricky. 26. What does the chemiosmotic process in chloroplasts involve? It's going to involve a hydrogen ion gradient, because it always involves a hydrogen ion gradient. So I'm looking for the word proton and gradient or hydrogen ion and gradient. And look, establishment of a proton gradient across the thylakoid membrane. I'm not reading the rest because I know that that's my answer. (27) and 28. Suppose the interior of the thylakoids are of isolated chloroplasts were made acidic and then transferred into the dark of a pH 8 solution. What will be likely to happen? Okay, so I'm going to make the thylakoid like acid, and then I'm going to put it in a weak base. Okay, now, do you guys remember how we talked about how the electron transport chain was on the inner membrane and it pumped stuff into the inner membrane space, but then the ATP synthase got pumped back across? Yeah, you might not remember that. Anyway, so ATP synthase is going to pump, the hydrogen ions are going to go in. And then when that happens, you make ATP out. So if I make this super acidic, then what's going to happen is I'm going to increase the proton gradient. So if this is in and this is out, I've got a whole bunch of hydrogen ions, and then I'm going to have my ATP synthase. That was the tube, right? And that's going to be sending out ATPs. So I'm going to isolate and make ATP. In a plant cell, where are the ATP synthase complexes located? It's the thylakoid membrane, true. I don't know about this only part. The plasma membrane, no, that's false. The inner mitochondrial membrane, that's true, but I don't know about that only. So if I'm a plant cell, I have chloroplasts, they have ATP synthase. I also have mitochondria, they also have ATP synthase. So I need to go ahead and do the thylakoid membrane and the inner mitochondrial membrane. So my answer is D. '29 and 30. In mitochondria, chemiosmosis translocates proteins, that just means moves protons from the matrix into the inner membrane space. So I'm in the matrix and I'm going that way. Whereas in chloroplasts, chemiosmosis translates protons from, so in chloroplasts, we'll do that one in green. So in chemiosmosis, we've got the stroma, and then we've got the thylakoid space. And so we're actually doing this way, because remember, photosynthesis is basically cellular respiration backwards, so we're going the opposite direction. So we're translocating protons from where to where? So we're going from the stroma into the thylakoid space. So what answer does that match? That matches answer C. Number 30, which of the following statements best describes the relationship between photosynthesis and cellular respiration? Respiration runs the biochemical pathways of photosynthesis in reverse. Close, but not exactly. Because if that was true, then since you start photosynthesis with sunlight, if you ran respiration, if you ran those pathways backwards, you would have to end with sunlight. And none of you shine sunlight out of your cells, as much as your parents might think that you do sometimes. B, photosynthesis stores energy in complex organic molecules, whereas respiration releases it. So that basically says photosynthesis makes sugar and respiration breaks it down. That's probably true. Photosynthesis occurs only in plants and respiration occurs only in animals. No, photosynthesis occurs only in plants, true, but respiration occurs in everything. ATP molecules are produced in photosynthesis and used up in respiration. No, they're made in both. So that's not true. Respiration is anabolic and photosynthesis is catabolic. So respiration is building and photosynthesis is breaking down, and those are backwards. So my answer is B. And I will continue these with 31 through 40 in the next video.